Hello, everybody. It's Matthew here from our Early On Center, and I would actually like to share a wonderful story with you today. Now, this story is actually written by a Canadian author who I actually found out about through their music that they play. So I'd love to introduce you now to some of his children's stories that he writes. So this is Bailey the Bat and the Tangled Moose, and the author is Grant Lawrence. You might recognize his name if maybe you listen or watch CBC. Yeah. And it's illustrated, all these fantastic drawings, illustrated by Naomi Gionnet-Landy. So let's get ready and read all about Bailey the Bat and the Tangled Moose. Ooh. Bailey the Bat couldn't sleep. Bailey was supposed to be asleep, like Mama and all the other little brown bats, high in their roost in the warm hollow tree in the thick green forest. Little brown bats were supposed to sleep all day, but Bailey the Bat wasn't like the rest of the colony. Bailey could never sleep during the day. There was too much to see and do when the sun was shining. See, there's our little Bailey. Every morning before bed, Bailey's mama would wrap her wing around the little bat and whisper, "Get a good day's rest, Bailey. We're going to be busy tonight. There are plenty of mosquitoes to be eaten in the darkness of these woods. Do not leave the roost while the rest of us are sleeping. Do you understand?" And Bailey's furry brown head would nod, "Yes, Mama." But while all the other brown bats were hanging upside down, asleep, Bailey the Bat was wide awake. On this particular morning, Bailey heard a very loud and very sad sound coming from somewhere deep in the forest. It almost sounded like an upset foghorn. Whoa, whoa. Oh my. Bailey tried to ignore it, but just couldn't. Bailey squinted out into the morning sun from the colony's cozy tree, but couldn't see anything. The loud, sad noise continued. Whoa. Bailey glanced nervously around the hollow tree. Bailey's mama and all the other little brown bats were sleeping with their heads tucked between their wings. Quietly, and with a thumping little heart, Bailey crawled towards the entrance of the roost. Feeling very guilty, Bailey looked back one more time before taking flight into the bright sunshine. Bailey the Bat had to know what was making that loud, sad sound. Bailey the Bat loved the feeling of the warm sunshine. Bailey flew over the trees at top speed, wings flapping wildly. The sad sound grew louder and louder and closer and closer. Bailey was now fluttering right above the wailing, which was louder than ever. And there, standing down through an opening in the treetops to the forest floor, Bailey the Bat couldn't believe it. The sad sound was coming from a young bull moose. The moose's wide antlers were caught in some rope tied to an old fence. Bailey did a nosedive straight through the trees and landed on one of the young bull moose's antlers. "What happened to you?" Bailey asked the moose. "Who said that?" "Who said that?" replied the moose, panting and glancing around as Bailey hung on to the antler. "I did. I'm up here. My name is Bailey. I am a little brown bat, and I came to see what the trouble was." The big eyes of the moose looked up. "Oh, hello, little brown bat," said the moose. "My name is Maddie. I was eating the sweetest of sweetgrass alongside this old fence when my antlers got caught up in this rope. The more I struggled, the more tangled I get." "But where are your moose parents?" asked Bailey. "They're eating weeds in the swamp on the other side of the waterfall. They can't hear me. I need to get untangled before I'm discovered by the hunters that live on that side of the fence or by the wolf pack that roams on this side of the fence. If I can't get free, I'll be the easiest dinner either of them have ever had." "Maybe I can help," Bailey suggested. "You?" said the moose. "A teeny tiny little brown bat. But how?" "Just watch me," Bailey said. Just watch me. Bailey the bat fluttered over to the rope and tried to untangle it. But Bailey's claws were just too small and the rope was too tangled. Little brown bats have very sharp teeth. So Bailey bit into the rope and started chewing. But the rope was too thick. Then Bailey the bat and Maddie the moose heard a sound that made them both look up in fright. Yeah, that's the look of something they did not want to hear. "Ow! Ow, ow, ow!" "It's the wolf pack," whispered Maddie. "They picked up my scent. I'm done for." He let out another sad wail. "Shh," shushed Bailey. "They probably heard you too. Hang on, Maddie. I have another idea." Bailey the bat flew straight up and, fluttering above the trees, let out a series of high-pitched squeaks. Within a few moments, the bright blue sky turned dark. A huge cloud of little brown bats came fluttering across the sky, answering Bailey's emergency bat call. At the very front was Bailey the bat's mama. Bailey, Mama exclaimed, what are you doing out of the roost? No time to explain, Mama. There's a moose down there who needs our help. A moose? Bailey's mama looked down and she saw the young moose thrashing about. Ugh. Then she spotted the wolf pack creeping through the woods. We have to save Matty the moose, shouted Bailey. His parents are in the swamp by the waterfall and can't hear his call for help. Bailey's mama turned to her colony. Half of you fly as fast as you can to the swamp and tell the moose parents to come quickly, she said in her stern voice, and the rest of you follow me. A cluster of little brown bats dove through the trees, following Bailey to Matty the moose. Below, the wolves had begun to circle, snarling and snapping. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. The young moose frantically kicked his hind legs at them, but the wolves were getting closer and closer. Bats, ordered Mama. Fangs out. Fangs are our teeth, right? Fangs out. Chew through the rope. And dozens of little brown bats sank their sharp little teeth into the tangled rope as the moose kicked and bellowed at the wolves. Hurry, cried Bailey, perched on Matty's antlers. The wolves are closing in. And finally, with a great big loud snap, snap, the bats had managed to get through one part of the rope. Another tangled coil broke apart under the chewing of the tiny bat fangs. Then another came loose, and another, and another. The young bull moose flung up his head. He was free. Now Matty the moose turned to face the drooling, snarling wolf pack, while the bat colony fluttered overhead. Matty lowered his antlers and tossed his head from side to side, backing up and stomping his hooves as the wolves moved in. One lone wolf, the leader of the pack, stayed back, sitting on a stump, watching with her ears perked up. The rest of the bat colony burst back through the trees. Two huge moose followed close behind, crashing through the forest. The moose lowered their heads, stomped their hooves, and charged. They tossed wolves into the air like beanbags. Soon the wolves were scrambling away as fast as they could run, yelping in fear with tails between their legs. But the white wolf remained on the stump. She looked right at Bailey, and Bailey looked right at her. She smiled, a sly wolf smile, before disappearing into the forest. Bailey and the rest of the colony let out a loud chirping cheer. When the bats had all settled down, Mama glared at Bailey. Bailey, she said crossly, I told you not to leave the roost. I'm sorry, Mama, Bailey replied, but this moose really needed our help. The young moose stepped forward. If it weren't for Bailey, I would have been moose meat for sure, said Maddie. I know Bailey shouldn't have left the roost, but I shouldn't have wandered away from the swamp either. Bailey answered my call for help, and your colony saved my life. Bailey the bat is a hero. Back in the roost, Mama grounded Bailey from flying for a long, long time. But it didn't matter. Bailey the bat was fast asleep. Dreaming of a new adventure. Let's see. There's Bailey, fast asleep. Well, my friends, that was the end. Thank you again for joining me. This was Bailey the Bat and the Tangled Moose. It was written by Grant Lawrence and illustrated by Naomi Gionet Landry. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day.